Hey guys, it's Holly. Welcome back to my channel. And today what I'm going to be doing is I'm actually going to be showing you how I tweeze out my gray hairs. And so I know this sounds really weird and it's very interesting, but the thing is, in reality, you'll hear a lot of people say, oh, don't pluck your gray hairs, you'll lose a whole bunch of hair, you will. Ultimately, a big myth is that if you tweeze a hair, like, two will grow back in its place or whatever. So that's actually not true. And I'm 30 years old. I started finding gray hairs when I was 25. I found my first one when I was about 21 or 22, but did not really start noticing until I was about 25. So I really don't have much more now than I did at the age of 25 or 26. But I do, every night, I do check my head and I do this quick little procedure, chore, whatever you want to call it, where I just check and pluck out any hairs. So I will also say that about once every week or two, I do have someone look at like the back, and I lift all this hair up. So I'll lift up like back here, and then I'll have, look under all the layers. So it's different depending on your hair. So I have thick hair. I have hair that's got a lot of layers. It's very, it's pretty thick, and that's another reason why I'm okay with plucking my gray hairs. It's a personal thing. You can do it or you cannot do it. It's totally up to you. So my parents both started going gray pretty early, and they both started plucking theirs. They did not go super gray until later on. My mom much earlier than my dad. My dad still actually has about half brown hair left, but for me, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I just kind of want to show you how I do it, and it's very quick and easy. So if you don't know, or maybe you just need some tips and ideas, this is what has worked for me for the past 5 or 6 years. And so like I said before, I always have someone else look for me in the back, once every week or two. Sometimes it might be longer. It just depends on how much gray you have and how much you're trying to get rid of. Some people will pluck a little bit or just pluck the really obvious ones. I've gotten to a point where if it's not obvious, I won't pluck it, but if it's clearly silver or clearly gray, I've got to pluck it. So, and the issue is too, like, you'll start to see, like, up in here, once you start plucking them, you get little tiny ones that grow back in, and then you have to pluck those out. So yeah, pretty much. So you can use a hairbrush, you can use a comb, both, whatever it is you want to use. Okay, so, and then you need a pair of tweezers. I do not have my tweezers with me right now because I can't find them. So ultimately the best thing to use is tweezers. You can use your hand if you have one that's very obvious and kind of like thicker, but if you have like the little ones or one that's, you just can't get with your hands, you definitely need your tweezers, and that's going to also help prevent you from taking extra hairs. And sometimes it will happen. Sometimes you will accidentally take extra hairs that you don't intend to, and that's just part of doing this. So just bear it in mind. With experience, over time, it does get better. So what I like to do is I start in the middle. So I don't really have a part that goes any particular way. So I just start in the middle. So I look at all this up here, and on the camera, I can't see very well. This isn't the greatest camera, but I'm not seeing anything right off the bat. Okay, so I just check all of this, and so like if I find something like this right here, I'm pretty sure is one. Okay, so I'm gonna grab that individual strand with either my hand or the tweezers. Okay, pull out that strand and put it wherever, in the sink. Usually what I do is I put it all in the sink and then I wipe it out when I'm done. So I do the middle, check as much as I can on my own. Then I go to the side and I check all this over here. So I usually use a hairbrush, I'll use a comb if that's all I have, but then I check all up in here, all up underneath here. So fortunately, most of my gray is typically on the top of my head and kind of underneath, mostly on the top, but it's different for everyone. In the back is usually the last place to go gray, or start going gray, so then I move over to the right side. Okay, so I check all of that, all the way over like this. And like I said, I have a lot of hair, so sometimes you'll find some like in this area. So I like to note that I check all of that. So then there's one right there. Okay, yank it out, put it to the side, and then you kind of just, you want to be careful. You don't want to pluck anything that you don't absolutely have to. because you'll start losing hair. And with me having thick hair, I can pluck more and it's not noticeable, you know. And hair does replenish itself relatively quickly, especially in its thickness, so it's something else to consider. So, and then what I'll do after I do that is I will actually, normally I will climb up on top of the counter in the bathroom and get right underneath the incandescent light bulbs. If you do this with LEDs or fluorescents, it could give you a headache, or it could make you just not really feel that great. So incandescent lighting, like I've said before in other videos, is really the best thing. So anyways, it's the most natural form of light other than sunlight. But I also will do this in the sunlight sometimes. Like right now, the sun is kind of setting, you know, so I'll go over it like this. Pluck out anything I see that's clearly gray. Go over to the side again, check all of this, you know, and then go back to the right side and check it all again. And that's really all there is to it. You know, some people will judge me for doing this, but the way I see it is, you know, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. I don't care what anybody else thinks about it. And this is just a really easy way to just keep it all in check. And you don't have to do this every day. You can do it whenever you feel like it. But I incorporate it every day because I do find new hairs every day, unfortunately. But that's the way it's been for the past 5 or 6 years. And you know what? It's just part of life. So anyways, I hope this video helps, and hopefully this kind of gives you an idea of how you can manage your grays, especially if you're young. You know, say you're in your 20s or your 30s or even your 40s, if you're not genetically predisposed, or even if you are, and you can just kind of, you know, see how I do it. But everybody's gonna do it differently. And so like my hair is pretty wavy, and you know, it's gonna be easier than curlier hair. Curlier hair is gonna be more difficult, but my hair is kind of like a straight to wavy. So anyways, that's about all I have to say. I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching this one. Bye.